Hi everyone, this is Rizwan here from Sustainable Factors. I'm an interim management consultant specializing in enterprise risk and sustainability transformation. For further information, you can contact me on sustainablefactors.com/Rizwan Malik, or of course, please feel free to reach me on LinkedIn. In this presentation, I'm going to give you a very quick introduction to the TCFD. This is part of a wider presentation for the TCFD Alignment Maturity Assessment, and I will link that video in the box below. Now, in order to start with the background to the TCFD, we really have to frame the issue of climate change first. Over the past few decades, world leaders have started to really give climate change a lot more attention, as it's now visibly disrupting businesses with that unprecedented level of physical impacts. So, for example, the increased probability of our fence panels in the back garden for those to be blown down, that's one thing, right? But flooding or the destruction of your corporate real estate, that's a completely different game altogether. So the TCFD is an acronym. It stands for the Taskforce on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures. And they are just that. They are a task force comprised of 32 members. These are individual people, these 32 members, and they come in the form of expert advisors, data users, data preparers, and the vice chairs, who are typically executives from tier 1 large cap organizations, and then you have the chairman himself. And they all together, they comprise the 32 members. Now, the task force has been created by the Financial Stability Board, or the FSB, and they are an international body convened by the G20 countries, and their job is to monitor and make recommendations about the global financial system. Particularly how to not mess it all up again like we did in 2008. So that's an interesting point there, right? We can understand why the FSB had to sharpen their agenda after the 2008 crash, but it's not really intuitive to understand what they have to do with climate change. So what have the task force done? Well, they've created a guidance framework to help businesses report on how they are aligned to the climate-related agenda. Now, please note here that they have produced a framework and they haven't produced a standard, okay? And I've seen it referred to as a standard, so that's why I raised this point. It is actually a framework. And whilst it's not a standard, your TCFD alignment status will still need to be disclosed as part of a standardized reporting process that's set by either legislation or, of course, regulatory bodies and so forth. Now, many organizations have been making disclosures about climate-related issues that are impacting their business. But over the last 7 years or so, the TCFD have enabled, or the TCFD's framework has enabled businesses to make their climate-related disclosures more effective. Therefore, the objective of these new mandatory drivers to align with the TCFD is really to create the necessary information efficiencies with regards to those climate-related impacts on the business. And on the business, that's the word being debated, or that's the term being debated at the moment, that we're talking about impacts on the business. So not to digress too much here, but that then begs the question, what about the business's impact on the planet itself or on nature itself? And as a side note, that framework is now being built by another task force called the TNFD, which stands for the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures. But back to the point. So these information efficiencies regarding climate issues will then effectively inform the allocation of capital, because investors, insurers, and in fact your entire stakeholder community will require this effective information to help price risk. So investors, for example, they want to know how you are managing the climate-related issues that impact your business. And so the FSB created a task force to guide organizations to disclose their climate-related financial information with both accuracy and foresight.